Welcome to Waters World. I'm Jesse Waters. Call it a tale of two presidents, Donald Trump and Barack Obama, with nearly back-to-back speeches this week, each rallying their party, hoping to garner support for the 2018 midterms. But their points of view couldn't be more different. Here's President Trump on jobs.
We've added over 400,000 new manufacturing jobs that the Democrats say are gone. And that number is going to very shortly, with what's happening in certain areas, be well over 600,000 manufacturing jobs. African-American unemployment recently achieved the lowest, think of that, the lowest rate, lowest ever recorded in the history of our country.
Now, President Obama had a little bit of a different perspective with the economy. Instead, he took credit for it. Listen.
When you hear how great the economy is doing right now, let's just remember when this recovery started, when the job numbers come out, monthly job numbers, and suddenly Republicans are saying it's a miracle. I had to kind of remind them, actually, those job numbers are the same as they were in 2015, in 2016.
Here with a reaction, former White House strategist Dr. Sebastian Gorka and author of the new book, Mad Politics, Keeping Your Sanity in a World Gone Crazy, Dr. Gina Loudon. So, Dr. Gorka, I know that you've been glued to the television watching President Obama over and over because you missed him so much. Am I wrong?
That's not even funny, Jesse, okay? I like not to be a subject of Dr. Gina's books, okay? So my mental health is important to me. So I love the Trump rallies. I watch my old boss every chance I get. But you know what? The community organizer, pass, hard pass.
It's amazing he's now trying to take credit for the economy after having the weakest recovery since the Great Depression. But Dr. Gina, it's funny that once you have the torch passed from President Obama to President Trump, the economy exploded. There was a stock market explosion. Wages have gone up significantly. There's been a manufacturing explosion.
Right.
On almost every level, it hasn't been a continuation. It's been an explosion.
An explosion. We're talking about 4 million jobs. We're talking about all-time record growth. We're talking about an economy we've never seen before, and Obama can't take credit for that. Let's remember one thing. We have a businessman in the White House who has made all of this happen. I can't remember if Obama ever actually held a job in the private sector, but I don't believe he did. I certainly know he never ran a company. No. He never did hardcore negotiations. We're seeing the fruit of that sort of a president right now, and Obama cannot take credit for that.
I would tell President Obama, you didn't build that.
Right, exactly.
So it's also interesting that he's now lecturing America and saying that we're now in a place of deep hatred and darkness and division. Here was the former president's assessment about the current state of affairs. Let's hear it.
Appealing to tribe, appealing to fear, pitting one group against another, telling people that order and security will be restored if it weren't for those who don't look like us or don't sound like us or don't pray like we do. That's an old playbook. It's as old as time.
Now, Dr. Gorka, it wasn't too long ago when Barack Obama was disparaging the bitter clingers and telling Christians they needed to get off their high horses. I mean, he's one of the most divisive presidents in the last 100 years, and the polls reflect that.
Who said that at the Thanksgiving table, you need to get in the face of family members who disagree with you. That's what he said. Look, Jesse, you have an incredibly popular show. You have a light touch. It's funny. But I need to be serious for a second, okay? What he just said, that clip you showed, is an affront and a lie. Nobody in the mainstream conservative world, nobody is saying we need to stop the people who look different from us.
Yeah, it's a straw man argument.
We need to be afraid. I mean, it's reprehensible. Nobody is saying the threat to us are the people who look different from us. Yeah. If I ever met this man, I don't know if I ever will, but if I ever met Barack Obama, who's lying in that clip, I'd ask him one question, just one question. In the last year, the approval rating for Donald J. Trump from the black American population has doubled, Jesse. Doubled. How does Barack Obama explain that?
Well, maybe he says it's Kanye's fault because maybe Kanye told everybody to listen. But you know what? I am making a joke, but you're right. To insult half of America as bigots is so reprehensible coming from a former president. And let's remember, this was the first black president of America. I mean, the majority of America, red, white, and blue, black, white, everything, voted for this man twice to occupy the Oval Office. So this country is not a bigoted country. It's a very, very beautiful country that respects everybody and listens to what they have to say. Isn't that right?
Yeah, and another correction of our dear former president. We live in a republic. Not a democracy, and maybe he needs a little history lesson there. But he is the king of identity politics,
You're right.
Jesse. He's the guy that divided us over and over again for 8 solid years. The division you see on television today, this was not created by this president, who has made everyone equal by making record unemployment across the board, as the president mentioned, for blacks, for Hispanics, for Asians, for high school dropouts, for crying out loud, for summer jobs for youth. The unemployment is at record low. Our economy is at record high. Everybody benefits from that. That is true equality, the likes of which Barack Obama wouldn't know no matter what.
I mean, these things we used to debate all the time on Fox News. If you were against Islamic terror, he would call you an Islamophobic.
Right.
If you wanted people to have to show ID when they voted because you didn't want voter fraud, you were considered a racist.
Right.
If you wanted a country that had borders, you were considered xenophobic under Barack Obama.
Yeah,
and it's just the same old talking points that he used for the last 8 years.
Yeah, it's tired old snowflake talking points. But let me just be very clear about who the president is, because we have this anonymous opinion piece that was published, clearly by somebody who's never spent any amount of serious time in the Oval Office and has never worked closely with the president. And this is what the left will never understand. Donald J. Trump does what he does in terms of securing America, in terms of unleashing the economy for all Americans. He doesn't care less your skin color, your accent, where you were born. In fact, the stunning thing about this man, Jesse, he doesn't care if you voted for him or not. If you voted for Hillary, if you wanted Bernie to win, he doesn't care. If you're an American here legally, he wants you to be safe, and he wants you and your family to prosper. End of story. And the left will never, cognitively, this is for, Dr. Gina's specialty, cognitively, they will never be able to absorb that truth.
Well, it's the Trump derangement syndrome. And you mentioned I'm going to call this person a mole in the White House. And they wrote this ridiculous anonymous New York Times op-ed where they said they're part of the resistance. They claim they're conservative, I guess, and they're protecting the country against Donald Trump. So when the president gives orders that should be executed by staff, they prevent some of those orders from being undertaken. And the president addressed this conspirator within the administration the other day. Let's hear what he had to say.
The latest act of resistance is the op-ed published in the failing New York Times by an anonymous, gutless coward. Unelected deep state operatives who defy the voters to push their own secret agendas are truly a threat to democracy itself. And I was so heartened when I looked. I think it's backfired. Seriously. Angry mobs, deep state radicals, and their fake news allies. Those people are the best. They're the best allies they've got. I mean, you look at the Washington Post or the New York Times, I can never get a good story. I mean, you look at this horrible thing that took place today. It's really, is it subversion? Is it treason?
Is it treason
Unequivocally, it's treason. And if you look at the motivation, which is what I always look at in psychology, it's an easy thing. Instead of looking at what happened, look at why the person would do what they would do. Why would this anonymous coward, right, go to the failing New York Times if their goal was really to hold this fragile administration together? It's nonsensical. It doesn't make logical sense to the rational person.
Because this is going to destroy any sort of conspiracy that they believe they're undertaking. Now they're going to sniff out this rat and they're going to boot him out. And it's obviously going to inflame everybody at the White House. But it's deeper than that, Dr. Gorka. This person and his fellow conspirators, they weren't elected by the American people. Donald Trump was elected by the American people. So this person and their little gang, they're subverting democracy. They're unelected. Yeah. They're like Strzok, who appointed himself the, above it all, and he's the one that is the great patriot and needs to protect the country against the president. He's the adult in the room. It's the same kind of mentality, and it's deranged and delusional and dangerous.
Yeah.
This person, who I don't think actually works in the White House, if you read the letter very carefully, it's obvious that they haven't spent significant amounts of time in the White House or working with the president.
So you think it's a small ball player?
Yeah, I think it's a small ball player somewhere in the administration. I think it's an Obama snowflake holdover. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter where they work. It's not treason because you have to actually give tangible succor to our enemies. This is sedition. So sedition, you can look it up in the Merriam-Webster, is the active or covert attempt to undermine a legal authority or constitutional order. And guess what? Donald Trump is the legal authority of the United States.
Well, I wonder what sedition is punishable by.
Oh, it's a very, very serious crime. But the point here is what you said. Whoever this person is, they weren't elected. They have no right. They have no right to say, I represent the real America, and therefore I get to sabotage the person that more than 60 million Americans chose to run the country. If you have a problem with that president, resign, start a political party, and run against the next candidate in the next election. But
that's right.
This is why Donald Trump won, Jesse. Because of these people who think they are above Americans.
No, it reinforces the whole swamp narrative, and President Barack Obama actually weighed in on the whole mole deal. Let's listen.
By the way, the claim that everything will turn out okay because there are people inside the White House who secretly aren't following the president's orders. That is not a check. I'm being serious here. That's not how our democracy is supposed to work. These people aren't elected. They're not accountable. They're not doing us a service by actively promoting 90% of the crazy stuff that's coming out of this White House and then saying, don't worry, we're preventing the other 10%.
I think there were a few Obama-era people kind of doing that. Remember Sally Yates? She did that.
Oh, yeah.
Strzok and Comey and McCabe. Yeah. All these people are kind of doing the same thing. Dr. Gina, I got to give you the last word.
Yeah, note to President Obama, he's not elected now either. And maybe he should do the classy thing, Jesse, and get the heck out of the way like all the other presidents before him have done. This is a classless act. And if people want to listen to somebody's books, maybe they listen to books like my book and Dr. Gorka's book, because we actually know the president, unlike Mr. Woodward and some of the rest of them.
Very smooth plug. And it was really an abrogation of decorum for presidents to do what he did this week and speak out. But you know what? Wouldn't be the first time President Obama's broken decorum.
Well,
Dr. Gina, Sebastian, thank you guys.
Jesse, thank you.